Playing Dungeons and Degenerate Gamblers makes you feel like a master strategist, carefully crafting your build and running probabilities in your head. Never mind, you just busted. Dungeons and Degenerate Gamblers is a role-playing casual game indie game strategy according to Google. I swear these get worse and worse. It's a strategy deck building roguelike, kinda like Slay the Spire, which Google actually accurately identifies. It was developed by Purple Moss Collectors and published by Yogscast. There's no real story to the game, you're just some person looking to play blackjack with a weird set of extra rules. The game's not targeting people who like a good story because it's just gambling, man. This option's a shortcut to victory right here. Here are the menu settings. There's not a ton, but notice there's no control remapping. However, there is controller support. There's a card journal, which shows you all the cards you've played with, including ones that you just recently unlocked. Luckily, there's a button to get rid of all these unread icons. Dungeons and Degenerate Gamblers is available on your typical desktop platforms, including Linux. The game looks good for a card game. The style is similar to Balatro. Also, the sound of things moving really makes my ears smile. Oh, this game will run on a potato. I'm surprised it's not available on phones. So how does the game play? You choose a deck and enter the tavern. The different decks start with different suits. The suit determines what happens when you get a blackjack. I like hearts because it lets me heal when I suck at the rest of the game. The first fight is always against the bartender. At first glance, this looks like a normal game of blackjack with some chill music. It only takes one hand to realize you're basically on a murder rampage, but that's not all. After winning an encounter, you get to add a card to your deck, and this is where the game goes off the rails a la Balatro. Cards can have virtually any value in this game, as well as other handy effect. After some number of games, you'll advance to the next location. Get through all locations and you win. Try not to die. So what do you need to know about in Dungeons and Degenerate Gamblers? There are a few important mechanics, so strap in. Life. Life persists between games. If you lose it all, your run is over. Shield. Shield can be gained or lost during a match and is reset on each match. Damage is taken from shield before life, but some cards interact with shield and life differently. Damage. Damage is determined once both players have stopped hitting. Whoever has the higher non-busted hand wins and deals damage to the player based on the difference of their hand values. A bust counts as 0 for this calculation. A tie results in no damage. Chips. Chips are used for various things in the game. Sometimes a card will require you to spend chips. Sometimes you'll use chips on an event between matches to buy other cards. Having chips is generally a good thing. Unique chip. Your unique chip is one of the primary ways to gain advantage in the game. You get a unique chip early in the game and sometimes it can be build defining. Advantage and exploit. Advantage is a resource you get during a match. It does not persist between matches unless otherwise specified. Advantage can be used to exploit cards which have an exploit ability like this one. Advantage can also be used to play cards directly from your hand. Advantage is generally a good thing to have. Cards. Cards are in your deck. They have values and effects. Building a synergistic deck is important if you want a chance of winning the game. Hit and stay. This is blackjack. You hit to play a card, you stay and to compare your total to your opponent's. Don't go over your max, which starts as 21, or you bust. Try to beat your opponent's score. Your opponent has a chip, which lets you know their condition to stop hitting. For the doggy, it's only 2. The enemies in this game are really just the other players you will fight. It's random who you'll run into, but it's based on the location you're in. Enemy decks are the same when you fight them, so after getting some time invested in this game, you'll better understand how to beat each one. Dungeons and Degenerate Gamblers is a single-player game. Start out by jamming some blackjack. Try not to pull out your hair by the end of the game while trying to strategize. Don't forget, life is a resource. There are no pay-to-win mechanics in this game. For $15, this is what you get. For cosmetics, you can customize your deck picture and avatar, because of course that was needed in this game. Overall, this game is made pretty well. I didn't run into any unintended glitches. It's a joke because of the card name. Except for maybe this one, where you could continue spending chips that you don't actually have, but then you can't use chips in future fights until you get more chips. I do also have a couple user experience gripes. For example, sometimes I will try to hit escape to leave a menu and it just doesn't. Also, if your cursor is over a clickable item when it shows up, you can't click it unless you move your cursor away and then move it back. Overall, Dungeons and Degenerate Gamblers takes a relatively simple game, blackjack, and turns it on its head. There's oodles of strategy in this game which you'll either learn yourself or from one of your other favorite YouTube channels like Northern Lion.
I'm not a perfect person, That's amazing. I never meant to do those things to you. You ever listen to Hoobastank?
On our patented 0 to 1 scale, we give this game a 0.71 out of 1. I ended up enjoying this game a bit more than Balatro, primarily because it didn't have that too unfair feeling. When I lost, it was generally because the game had been going on for an hour and I lost focus and concentration. There are some fun decks you can put together if you're lucky enough. If you like this no bullshit review, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you, good night, and don't forget to clean and condition any leather you own to avoid having it dry out.